Today we are making vegan deviled eggs. We're going to be making some vegan egg whites using science, and we're also going to do a version using potatoes. And these came out fantastic, and even my non-vegan neighbors dug them, so let's get it going. First, for the egg whites, they are really quite easy. The one special ingredient you're going to need is agar-agar or agar-agar, however you pronounce it. I always used to say it like Sammy Hagar, but it's essentially just a plant-based gelatin, and it's crucial in order to get the egg whites to set and firm up. We'll also need some kind of plant milk. I tried coconut and almond, but cashew milk was my favorite. Go ahead and use whatever milk you prefer. And to start, we're going to pour 2 cups worth into a saucepan along with 2 heaping teaspoons of the agar-agar or agar-agar. Go ahead and heat that up and whisk it gently. And now the instructions for the agar say to bring this to a boil and then simmer for 2 minutes and then back to a boil. But the first time I made these, I just brought it to a boil once and they turned out fine. Both ways seem to work out, so do whatever you like as far as that goes. Once it's boiling, I'll add a little salt as well as some black salt. And this stuff is what's going to lend a nice eggy flavor to our deviled eggs. Just make sure you add it at the end of cooking, as cooking it too long will dull the flavor. You can also scoop out some of the bubbles if you like as well. These will not go away once the egg white's set. That's mostly for aesthetics though, so if that doesn't bother you, don't sweat it. Now to get these to set into our egg shape, you're going to need some kind of egg mold. These are relatively inexpensive and also come in handy for chocolate eggs. But we're going to pour in the egg white mixture, and this recipe should get you about 12 to 16 deviled eggs. Feel free to scoop out any bubbles, or you can just move them to the center too, since we're going to be covering that up as well. And once you've poured all the egg whites, let them chill in the fridge for about 15 minutes. And while that's happening, we can whip up the egg yolk filling. And for these, we're going to need 4 ounces of tofu. And I did do a few experiments with super firm tofu as well as extra firm silken tofu and also regular silken tofu. I found that the extra firm silken tofu was my favorite. The texture was just silky smooth and perfect. The regular silken was just way too watery and loose, and the super firm is good, but just not as smooth as the extra firm silken. And I loathe to say the term mouthfeel, but the extra firm silken just felt better in my mouth. I'm sorry for saying this combination of words, let's move on. So to our extra firm silken tofu, we're going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of vegan mayo, 1 heaping tablespoon of mustard, a half teaspoon of white wine vinegar, a heaping teaspoon of light miso paste, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a half teaspoon of turmeric, I always screw that one up, 1 to 2 teaspoons of MSG, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black salt. Blend that up until it's nice and smooth, and now this is a bit too loose at this point, so we're going to add some instant mashed potato flakes to thicken it up. Start with 1 or 2 tablespoons, blend it, and then see if it's thick enough. If not, add 1 tablespoon more and blend, and repeat that until it's at your desired thickness. Taste and adjust for seasoning, and that is it for the egg yolk mixture. And by this time, the egg whites should be nice and firm, so get them out of the fridge, and these can break if you are too rough with them. I like to gently pop them out by nudging them with my fingers ever so gently until they pop out. Now this is optional, but if you want to scoop out a little bit from the middle for the filling, you totally can. And don't worry if they are perfect, because we will be covering them up with some egg yolk mixture as well. And if you find that they are sliding all over the place too, you can slice off a little bit off the bottom to make it flat so they are a bit more stable. You can just spoon the egg mixture on, or you can get a piping bag with a nice large piping tip like this. Fill up your piping bag with the yolk mixture, and now we just need to go ahead and squeeze out some of that delicious eggy yolk filling into each one. And for additional toppings, you can go with some paprika and some chives or dill. If you want to add something crunchy on top, you can use some accidentally plant-based bacon bits or some fried crispy onions. If you have some of my rice paper bacon handy, you can chop that up and use that too. Top them however you'd like. Now, if you don't want to bother with the egg whites, you can also just use some potatoes. Simply get some egg-sized Yukon Gold or red potatoes, and I like to slice them around like so. This will make peeling them a bit easier. Steam or boil the potatoes until they are fork or knife tender, and then dunk them in some cold water. When they are cool enough to handle, peel them like so. You can also peel them under cold running water, which helps the skins come off too. Then it's just a matter of slicing them in half and topping them with some of that filling. And both of these options are great. The potato version tastes like a potato, so it's delicious, but the egg white version tastes a lot like what I remember deviled eggs tasting like. I remember them being kind of weird, and my non-vegan neighbor who loves deviled eggs said that they are the right amount of weird, so I think I nailed it. And you can totally make these the day before if you're going to bring them to a party or something, so I really hope you all make them. And if you want to see how to make a vegan fried egg, check out this video, and until then, I'll see you all next time.